In our society today, we have a very strong interest in fantasy and in, sci-fi movies, those types of things. And, I think of worlds like Lord of the Rings or worlds like Avatar, where I think so many of us feel just this intense desire for something like that, a desire for this world of that's different. And I think that this very much points to what is written on the human heart, which is a desire for paradise, a desire for heaven. These things point us to our need of God, and they point us to what God has written on our hearts, even if we don't fully understand that God has written over and over. You see it in what we create, you see it in what we make movies about, is that this desire is so intensely within us of a new world, this world of wonder. And what God is saying to mankind is that there is truly a way to have this world. There is truly a way to have this paradise. That is what heaven is. God, in the end of all of human history, at the very last day, he is going to remake the heavens and the earth. He is going to make an earth where righteousness dwells. In 2 Peter 3:13, it says, "But according to his promise, we are waiting for new heavens and a new earth in which righteousness dwells." The desire in the human heart shows that paradise, that garden that we are longing for. But God is saying to mankind that the way to this paradise, the way to this garden, is through godliness. It is through righteousness. It is through truly turning to God and doing what is right and living a life that acknowledges God and a life that really walks in righteousness towards all people around us. The danger for man is that we have these desires and we can settle just for our own fantasy of these things instead of allowing those desires to really point us towards the way of obtaining those desires. Because righteousness, a real righteousness lived through Christ, is the way to come into that paradise with God. It is the way to inherit those things. This is what God is saying in his word over and over. He says in Matthew 5:5, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." The earth is the great possession. The earth is the great reward, the renewed earth, the renewed paradise. Psalm 37, it says, "For the evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord shall inherit the land. In just a little while the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. But the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant peace." What God is saying in Psalm 37 is that there are these wicked people, as you see in life in general. There are wicked people, and they're going about doing these things, and the psalmist is saying to the reader, don't fret over what evildoers are doing. Don't be discouraged by what they're doing, but make the Lord your inheritance. Make the Lord your business. Be concerned with God. It says trust in the Lord and do good. Because the issue is that we can be so frustrated and upset with what wicked people do, and we are right to be upset with those things. We're right to see the misery of the world and to see the destruction, but we need to understand that just a desire for a better world and just an acknowledgement of the destruction and the misery around us is not enough. What we need is the pathway to live uprightly, and this is what God is telling us in Christ. Christ is the pathway to live uprightly, to live in godliness and really rightly acknowledge God, and to live in righteousness and have a right love for our neighbor, and that this is the person who will inherit the land. This is the person who will receive the promised land, right? Israel, when they were leaving Egypt and they were coming into the promised land, they were inheriting the land. This was a symbol of what God will do with those who make him their business, where they concern themselves with the ways of God. God is saying to mankind, who is willing? Who is willing to walk in this righteousness? Who is willing to take what God says seriously, because we need to understand that what is good and right is a godliness. Firstly, it is a real acknowledgement of God, a real seeking of God, and a real seeking of righteousness through God, and then walking in that righteousness, walking in that godliness by the life that we have available to us in Christ. And God is saying to all of mankind who cries out for a new creation, who cries out for this wonder and this amazement, and is so hungry, he says, there is this pathway. Make your business righteousness. Make your business godliness. Follow after God through Christ. And this is what he's made for us. He has made this way for us in Jesus. God is telling mankind that this desire, this great desire in our heart, yes, that's exactly it. And he is saying that is the reward for those who live uprightly, for those who live righteously through Christ.